Welcome to the Denverse.
I'm Derek,
This is Quinn.
and we are back for another exciting week. A very full week of things happened.
Yeah.
I mean, all of the teams had exciting things happen. And I guess that means that we need to get into our 7-minute recap of the week.
Yeah, buddy.
And this is, of course, the longest 7-minute recap in Denver sports. And we're going to start with something that we mentioned last Wednesday. This is recording on Wednesday. Mike Bobo and CSU parted ways last week, and that is the top of how well this story has gone. Since then, they've brought in Urban Meyer as a consultant to try to find the next coach. And if you'll remember, Urban Meyer was suspended from Ohio State for his handling of a domestic abuse allegation, and then he retired after how poorly that went all around. I mean, CU had the exact same thing happen to them. At least Ohio State suspended Meyer for 3 games. CU didn't do that. And then he interviewed 3 of his own assistants and Butch Jones, who I don't know if does that name ring a bell to you?
Butch Jones, Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
Which is a cursed space.
And I don't know if you remember, but he was almost CU's coach when they hired McIntyre. He was brought onto campus, and he's most famous for hiding behind a food cart so that the media could not see him because Cincinnati didn't know he was there. There was a handshake agreement between the two of them, and then Tennessee called and he left. So, to CU fans, Butch Jones is the greatest hire that CSU could make. And apparently they were working on a deal, and something fell apart there again.
Well, clearly he's a high-integrity guy with a good track record of winning. I think tanking 2 or 3 Tennessee teams in his tenure.
And speaking of high-quality guys, they also have apparently talked to Kevin Wilson, who is a former Indiana coach, who was let go for creating a hostile environment and being abusive in the locker room. And then also Tony Alford, former CSU running back, although their AD said that the guy needed to have head coaching experience.
Cool.
So as of this recording, we do not know who it is, but just wanted to get our CSU coaching search in there.
Yeah, I mean, which has been the marquee story of the week for sure. Well, God bless you for it, Collins.
The Avs walked into Toronto, played a competitive game, and ended up winning 3-1. The tie was broken in the third period by none other than Valerie Nichushkin, who, as of this recording, has 5 goals.
And as of going back to, 2-3 weeks ago?
Had no goals since 2016.
Yes, and Derek, you freaking soothsayer,
He had a great goal in the Calgary game on Monday where he was standing in front of the net, and he sort of leaned his whole body. He's a big guy and got the puck around the goalie in a way where you're just like, how is this guy not a 40-goal scorer? Like, that was an incredible play. He actually was a top 10 pick of the Dallas Stars, and I'm just wondering, what did the Stars do to this guy?
Well, Stars seem to be striking out in a couple places recently.
Yes, we will get to their other big news of the week from the Stars a little bit later on. On Thursday, the Avs also played the Montreal Canadiens in the return of captain Gabe Landeskog. He scored a goal, and the Avs scored the first 3 goals and then did the thing that all NHL teams do, nothing the rest of the game, and held on for a 3-2 win. The Nuggets beat the Knicks 129-92. It caused the Knicks to fire David Fizdale and the Nuggets to get so excited that, as you'll see, it didn't go well the rest of the week.
Yeah, but I mean, that's like anything that happens in Madison Square Garden is officially like a big deal. And I think that was the 3rd worst loss that the Knicks have had inside the Garden. So shout out to the Nuggets for that.
On Friday night, the Nuggets lost 108-95 to Boston. I tried to not watch that game. It was on where I was that night, and I just turned around so I couldn't have to watch.
I was working an event, and there was an active shooter across the street, and it was way more interesting watching that than the game.
Jokic did have 30 points in that game, and that has been the one positive of this losing streak is Jokic has played well in all 3 games.
Yeah.
On Saturday night, the Avs rolled over the Boston Bruins 4-1. It was Boston's first home regulation loss of the year, and a dominant performance by the Avs. The Boston Bruins, considered by many to be the best team in hockey, just really weren't with it with the Avs. all seemed great, including Burakovsky got his 12th goal of the year in his 26th game. The last 3 years before this, Burakovsky scored 12 goals in each of those 3 seasons, so he has tied his goal mark for the last 3 seasons in 26 games.
Wow. Does that mean that they should just put him at the end of all the rotations now?
I guess it's over.
Yeah. It's
Unfortunately, in this game, both Philip Grubauer and Cale Makar were hurt, and that was disappointing. Really, both were big losses, but Makar had been healthy for the whole injury streak. Landeskog came back. It felt like everyone was basically healthy except for Eric Johnson, and now we're right back where we started.
And Makar, it's going to be a little while, yeah.
Yes, he's definitely not playing tonight's game, where it's Wednesday night. Maybe this weekend. So,
well, because he took a hard check into the wall.
Yeah, it was one of those weird ones. It was Brad Marchand, who's known for being a dirty player. It was not a dirty check, but he hit Makar. Makar's head didn't hit anything, and then Makar was shaking his head, but we think it was a shoulder injury, listed only as an upper body injury. So, also the CU Buffs lost to the second-ranked Kansas Jayhawks, 72-58. It was CU's first loss of the year, and it dropped them from 20th to 24th in the rankings. I didn't have a huge problem with this loss because it was in Lawrence, second-ranked team in the country, but neither McKinley Wright or Tyler Bay played very well, so that was frustrating. And then Sunday happened. And
Sunday.
The Denver Broncos defeated the Houston Texans 38-24.
And that's a very generous 24.
Yes, it was. They were trying to do everything just to get it close.
Yeah.
Locke, in his second start, got the win and finished 22 of 27 for 309 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception, and only had 1 bad throw the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it was incredible to watch.
It was beautiful. The play calling, the execution, it was all there. It really looked like Houston was like, okay, we'll just shut down Sutton. There won't be any more weapons. And then everybody stepped up in amazing ways.
Yeah, they had 10 receivers have catches in that game. And Tim Patrick looked like he's a real receiver again, which was exciting to see. The running game wasn't even that good. Houston outran them, and they still just rolled over the Texans. It was a lot of fun to watch, and we'll talk more about Drew Lock, but enjoyed all around. And as we mentioned in the opening, he pretended to be Buzz Lightyear because people had been making fun of how often he was looking at his wrist at the play call. And the best joke I saw was a picture of Buzz Lightyear and Drew Lock both looking at their wrist thing, and it said no signs of intelligent life in Houston.
It's yeah, dissing Houston. It was great. he looked like he had fun too, and that's something that you just haven't seen from any of the slew of mopey, untalented quarterbacks we've had recently.
Also, the Nuggets lost to the Brooklyn Nets 105-102. Spencer Dinwiddie, former CU Buff, had 24 points and really dominated the Nuggets, especially late.
Yeah. Nuggets they looked tired and slow, and being the best defensive team in the league, you'd have no idea just given by how lost they looked.
I completely get why he's not on the Nuggets, and I completely understand why they didn't draft him.
Dinwiddie?
Yes, but he has been available multiple times, and the Nuggets had him right up the street. Like, if anyone knows how good Dinwiddie can be, it's Denver. I know they don't have room. I know none of it makes sense, but it's just hard to just, watch him be as good as we thought he could be in college. Now do it for the Nets, who don't need him, because eventually they're going to have 2 All-Stars on that team.
It'll be good, but he's been better without Kyrie. The Nets have been better without Kyrie, with Spencer Dinwiddie starting.
Jokic had 24 points and 11 assists, and Murray had 21 points. So that, again, positive. Just nothing else seems to be working.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we covered it a lot last week, and we still have some gripes we'll get to later in the show. On Monday night, the Avs finally returned home on a 6-game winning streak and lost to the Flames 5-4 in overtime, but they still got that 1 point. They were down 4-2, and then Nathan McKinnon entered angry Hulk mode and just took over the game. He had the fastest no-look pass I've ever seen in hockey. He was going right down the middle. Suddenly the puck was over to Donskoy, and he scored. Great pass. Fun game. I was there, but it did end their winning streak. Really, I mean, they won all those games on the road. They have a great road record. They're going to lose every now and then. They still got the point. Francois played in goal, and he was okay. Also, people have started calling him Francois again. The PA announcer was calling him Francois. Others have called him Francois. So, I don't know. I like Francois better because then he can be Dr. Francois. Better nickname.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I had a lot of emotions about a thing that I just learned about. You convinced me
Yes.
in this 6-second period.
But I've been saying Francois for so long. And I think it's actually Francois. Like there's an S, but not hard. I don't know.
Well, given that I took French in community college, I believe that Francois would be the more common pronunciation.
Yes.
But he's like Canadian, isn't he? Like Quebecois.
I think he's Finnish. Let me look.
Well, that blows it out the water.
I know.
Well, this is the period in our 7-minute recap where we spend too much time on a backup goalie for the Avs.
Well, right now he's the main goalie. He's Czech. I feel really bad.
Czech.
I knew that.
I think we actually mentioned that before.
Yes. So in Czech, apparently it might be Francois now.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right.
And then last night, the Nuggets lost to the 76ers 97-92. Really, Nuggets had to come back to make it 97-92.
Yeah.
Jamal Murray's hurt.
I saw diagnosed yesterday with a trunk contusion, which is interesting because I don't know what either of those things mean separately and especially together. But doesn't sound fun.
No. Barton was really good in the game. He continues to be like the best surprise of the first half of the season.
Yeah, but I mean it's the same thing that happened against the Kings a couple weeks ago, where Gary Harris started the game super hot, like scored 20 points in the first quarter, and I think Barton scored 15 to 20 in the first quarter, and then just didn't get the ball enough for the rest of the game. Because there's no reason we don't have a 30-point scorer. We have one 30-point scorer so far this season.
And that was Jokic.
Yeah. But if you come out that hot, the game plan should be focused on keeping you hot.
It was their third loss in a row, and they now dropped to 14-8, which is pretty mediocre in the Western Conference.
It certainly is not going to get you beating the Lakers, the Clippers, the Mavericks, and even the Trailblazers with a resurgence with Melo. They're not far behind at this point.
No, and the Trailblazers do come into Pepsi Center Thursday night.
Oh, yeah.
8:30 start, I'm guessing on national TV, so everyone can watch it. Watch Melo's return to Denver again, this time on the villainous Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah. I'm going to make a request to the Nuggets Nation. Just don't boo Melo. There's no reason to. Boo Rodney Hood and Zach Collins, even though he's not playing. And Nurkic. But just Melo does not deserve boos. I'm so happy that he's back.
He won Player of the Week.
He won Player of the Week. It was a sham, but I was happy to see it.
At the winter meetings, Rockies GM Jeff Bridich made an announcement that the Rockies are in play in a market. Do you want to guess what that market is?
I want to guess. I'm going to say catcher because they never make big moves.
Yes. Backup catcher.
Backup catcher.
The market for a backup catcher. And CU lost to Northern Iowa 79-76 at home. Lucas Seward, the senior, had one of his best games as a Buff, having 21 points, including some big threes. The loss will knock CU out of the rankings and puts added pressure on them to beat CSU in Fort Collins on Friday night. Disappointing one. It's put a lot of pressure on them because now they really need to win the CSU game, and they're playing Dayton in Chicago, and that's going to be a much bigger game around Christmas.
It's just so interesting in college basketball how a team like Dayton or Northern Iowa is better than you.
Yeah, and I mean Northern Iowa, I sort of forgot this, and then I saw them and I was like, oh, I know these guys.
Yeah.
They've made the Sweet 16 at least, if not the Elite 8.
Yeah, they were the Darlings won tournament, like, I think right after Butler.
Yeah. Also this weekend, or the rest of the week, the Broncos played the Chiefs on Sunday in Arrowhead, Drew Lock's biggest test. The Avs are hosting the Flyers and Devils at home, and that Devils game on Friday night has added importance because they are currently rumored to be trying to trade for Taylor Hall, the star Devils forward who beat Nathan McKinnon out but shouldn't have for the MVP vote 2 years ago. So that is a big thing to watch.
Yeah, and that's awesome because I think it's more an audition for Taylor Hall than it is for the Avs. I think, like, the Avs are a known quantity. You want to play with us. Like, now Taylor Hall has to prove, make it valuable, make it worth it.
Yeah, and it always helps when everyone's in the same building. So who knows what team Taylor Hall will be on come Friday night.
I know. That'd be cool.
And they're also playing in St. Louis on Monday. Currently, the Avs are 1 point behind St. Louis for first place in the Central Division, which seemed an impossibility a week ago. The Denver Nuggets are beginning their 5-game homestand. We mentioned Portland. They're also playing the Thunder, the Knicks, the Magic, and the Timberwolves. All the ingredients they need to get back on track here.
Yeah.
So that is this week in Denver sports.
Yeah, 15-minute, 7-minute recap.